Linels are probably the most fearsome creature in all of Hyrule and have definitely destroyed countless of clueless casual players just like me back then. Fast forward to today though, and I'm a speedrunner now with over 5,000 hours played, and Linels are no problem anymore. I have speedrun the all Linels category before. Back then, it took me just under 100 minutes, so if you read the title now, you will probably ask yourself, then how did you do it in under 1 hour now? And the answer is pretty simple. Okay, look, this may look a bit cheap, but let me explain. All Linels actually has two subcategories: Ancient Arrows and No Ancient Arrows. In the past, I did the No Ancient Arrow run, since it was actually pretty boring to run around Hyrule Castle for 10 minutes just to end up with enough Ancient Arrows for the run. Back then, I also thought it would be harder and more hype to fight the Linels without Ancient Arrows, but this actually turned out to be wrong. I'll let my past me explain why. So all you need to know is that when you headshot a Linel, they go to the ground, right? And you can basically hit them as much as you want, like this, right? When they go back up, they're gonna shake their head, and if you then headshot them again, they're going back down. So you can basically do whatever you want, attack them, wait for them to shake their head, headshot again, and that way they can't even fight back. Anyway, I'm running with Ancient Arrows now, okay? And wait, before you think, wow, that's lame, this still means I have to kill 23 Linels all across Hyrule from a new file in under 1 hour. This run will feature new glitches, impressive snipes, and tight movement, and I will tell you all about it. But before that, let me tell you the real reason I chose the Ancient Arrow version. So there's this new glitch called IST, or Inventory Slot Transfer, and it allows us to duplicate items really fast. I explained it in a previous video. So this glitch is what makes this run so fast now too, since it allows us to just get, let's say, 3 Ancient Arrows on Hyrule Castle and then duplicate them in order to have enough to kill all the Linels, but more on that later. The other reason this run is possible is today's sponsor, Conan Exiles. Exiles is an online multiplayer survival game set in a vast open-world sandbox available on PC. Build a home and kingdom and then dominate your enemies in single or multiplayer. Now, the Age of Sorcery update is coming to Conan Exiles. While we are all hoping for some new magical powers in Breath of the Wild 2, in this new Age of Sorcery update, you can become a master of the dark forces of sorcery already. You can perform summoning rituals to summon demonic and undead followers, vanish from plain sight, and control darkness or storms at will. There's also character specialization in Age of Sorcery, and it's deeper than ever, and every attribute has been rebalanced and its effects tweaked. While waiting for more news on our next Hyrule open world title, Conan Exiles could be the perfect game to check out in the meantime. Please make sure to check out the link in the description, and thank you so much to Conan Exiles for sponsoring this video. That being said though, let's get to killing some Linels. First of all, I started a new file in Master Mode, importantly. This is because one of the Linels simply doesn't even exist in normal mode, and it also changes some other minor things about the run. Then, as usual, after getting the Sheikah Slate, I clipped out of bounds using the scope feature and then made my way to the outside world. Here, instead of running to the Boko camp straight away, I took a left and grabbed 2 apples, a torch and an axe. These will be important for later. Now I had to run through the Boko camp to pick up more food and also the potlet, which is gonna be my only shield on the Great Plateau and super important. These Bokos are blue in Master Mode and actually behave slightly differently because of it. They attack faster and hit harder and had definitely killed a run or 2 in the past. Next, I made my way towards the Temple of Time, where after another Zelda dialogue, I clipped through its window to reach a chest with a bow and then broke a pot with 5 arrows to set up the first major glitch. In case you haven't seen it yet, this is the BLSS that allows Link to build crazy speed by wiggling the left control stick, and it doesn't even need the glider. So I used this to make my way to the first shrine, Bombs. Despite all these crazy glitches, we still have no way to skip the Great Plateau from a fresh file, so I had to beat all 4 shrines here to get the paraglider to reach the Linels in the first place. Once at the bomb shrine though, I shield clipped through the wall and then into it to enter. In this plateau route, you actually use the wind bomb glitch in every single shrine, and bombs, where we get the rune to perform it, is no exception. After receiving the new powers, I ran towards the start of the shrine and then wind bombed from there towards the end. Ideally, you land up at the monk there, but landing down here is not too slow either. From here, after my first encounter with the mysterious old man, I BLSS'd to Magnesis, clipped into it again, and then also wind bombed to the end. Then BLSS towards Stasis, wind bombed up to it from this tree, which always looks very cool. And then clipped into the shrine and solved it with yet another wind bomb. And then finally made my way towards Cryonis, the 4th shrine, but launching Link upwards with this boulder and then sliding to the shrine this time. I then used a harder but faster shield clip here to enter through the door and then again used the trusted wind bomb to clear the trial. All that was left to do now was to meet the old man at the Temple of Time to receive the paraglider, and then the Linel killing could finally begin. So I simply bomb slided all the way to the temple's tower and finished the Great Plateau. At this point, it was obviously up to me which Linel I wanted to kill first, but since I was going to use Ancient Arrows, there was an obvious first location to stop by. Hyrule Castle. So after getting my paraglider, I BLSS towards it and landed exactly on this little balcony, which is still a little unloaded because of how fast we actually got here. And on here there is a chest with 3 ancient arrows. And after picking them up, I could wind bomb up to the first gatehouse to quickly shoot the first Linel of the run. From here, another wind bomb would take me to the second gatehouse where I could get my second target. A smart way to optimize this section is by just climbing down slightly into the gatehouse and then back up. This is enough for the Linel to spawn in, but also allowed me to quickly keep going. After getting my ancient arrows and taking care of the first 2 Linels, I used the sliding glitch again to make my way to the 3rd Linel close to Korok Forest. I used my last ancient arrows here to take care of it, but next we are going to use that glitch to literally make 4,500 ancient arrows. And all we needed for that was the ancient arrow slot. You see, once you have discovered ancient arrows once, the slot for them stays in your inventory, even if you have 0 of them, so that was all I needed. After taking down this 3rd Linel, I had to collect some more things. First was this actually extremely well-hidden chest in the grass containing a Phrenic bow. This bow was going to be super useful because of its great range, allowing me to snipe Linels from far away. And then I also collected some more materials on my way to the Serene stable down here. Most noteworthy, a big, hearty truffle. I came to this stable to perform Breath of the Wild's newest and most broken glitch called inventory slot transfer. I did mention this briefly earlier, and I recently made a video on this topic where I explained it a bit more detailed, but this glitch is the most complicated one we have yet. But essentially, it allows us to duplicate anything we want. So in this run, I used an extremely tricky setup to not only duplicate 4,500 ancient arrows, but also 999 big hearty truffles, which I then could cook to have enough food for the whole run. And then I also duplicated this Enduring Mushroom Skewer to have a stack of 999 so I could constantly refill my stamina mid-air to perform more wind bombs and use bullet time for Linel snipes. This is where the real run begins, and as you can see, until the glitch setup, I have been playing the game for 25 minutes. In the next 25 minutes, I literally killed all remaining 20 Linels, so there is going to be a takedown almost every minute. So here we go. From the stable, I performed a chain of wind bombs to reach the snowfield in Hebra, and this is a very well-known location since there is 3 silver Linels up here right next to each other. I BLSS to the first one in the west, then wind bomb towards east, sniping the second one from mid-air, and then mid-air wind bomb to the third one to repeat that. From here, a chain of mid-air wind bombs could get me to the top of the big maze that acted as a perfect location to set up another bomb slide. This would get me to the north of Eldin, where once again there is 3 silver Linels relatively close to each other. A bomb slide got me from number 7 to number 8, and then some fast angled wind bombs to get to number 9. Here I was kinda stuck. I was right next to the Great Elden Skeleton and had to get all the way around Death Mountain to reach Akala, where I would find 2 more Linels. So I wind bombed up the hill and took care of this stone Octorok thing since it likes to suck up your bombs. Then I set up the longest BLSS in the entire run, where I essentially slid from here all the way around the mountain to reach Akala and then Linel number 10. The 11th one is a bit of a highlight, since you can actually snipe it from all the way up here and then continue towards the south. From a tree here, I made my way to Linel with another BLSS, dodging the tall islands carefully to then reach the enemy. After taking care of this one though, the next Linel was gonna be the only red-maned Linel in all of Master Mode, sitting on top of Polymus Mountain, which was very high up. So I had to hit a ton of mid-air wind bombs perfectly to climb up to it. Thankfully, this is where all of my Endura food really came into play, recharging my stamina whenever needed. After around 10 wind bombs or so, I was finally able to reach it and sniped it from the edge of the mountain. Yet another BLSS could take me from here to the Linel Promenade, where many people had their first encounter with a Linel in general. This one is guarding the first memory location. This time it would take me all the way to Farron Woods for another quick kill, and then from here to Osera Plains for 2 more fast ones. With that, 17 Linels were defeated and only 6 were left, with this next one being the Master Mode exclusive Great Plateau Linel. After reaching it with another slide, I stopped by at this mud pit to pick up 5 ice arrows for later, and then made my way to the Colosseum for Linel number 19. This next section of the run is actually the hardest in my opinion. First, I had to perform a very tricky slide that would take me from the Colosseum between Mount Satori and Gerudo Canyon to just perfectly reach this little arena behind the Bantha Bridge stable. This is where I could quickly kill Linel 20. The next 2 Linels are where it gets really tricky though, since they are on top of the Gerudo Canyon, which is way up high from here. So I wind bombed over to the Tenakusar Shrine, which is already a little higher, but the main reason I came here is this moblin. I froze him with the ice arrows I picked up on the Great Plateau earlier, and then performed a sadly outdated speedrunning trick, the bullet time bounce, to catapult myself towards the canyon. Some extra wind bombs from here would reach Linel 21, and another slide would launch me perfectly towards Linel 22. But this is where I realized I was actually super close to my goal of beating the run in under 50 minutes, and immediately became super nervous. I knew that this last slide would determine whether I would make it or not. And it wasn't just any slide. I had to go from up here all the way to the northeast of Hebra. Then the worst thing happened, and my round bomb rolled away during the slide setup. The round bomb is actually considerably faster than the square one when sliding, but blowing it up and waiting for it to come back was also slow. So I decided to pick up the square bomb and then set up the slide and wiggled as fast as I could. The timing was so incredibly intense and close, but when I finally started falling at the target location, I could see the Linel right there and fired. That was it. I had killed every single Linel in Breath of the Wild in under 50 minutes from a new file. This run was not perfect by any means, but it is the current world record, and it is actually surprisingly fun, so I hope more people will try this run in the future. If you want to see more Breath of the Wild speed and challenge runs, you should definitely check out my Twitch, by the way. Looks like there's a direct coming up soon too, so if you want to chill with the Breath of the Wild speedrunning community when we maybe finally get news about the sequel, that's the place to be. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed the run and explanations, and I'll see you in the next one.